V'zehu vayakil Moshe kol adas b'nei Yisrael chulu. And this is that Moshe gathered all the congregation of the sons of Israel. V'hinei kol hanal b'pirush edus v'she'ein edu b'chusam yud chulu. Now, all that was explained before about a testimony and that there's no congregation less than 10 and so forth. Hakol hu milamata l'mayla. All of that is from below to above, getting to a state of bittul and being included above elevation, the concept of gathering. With the concept of the elevation of the worlds outside of the curtain to go above the curtain. Now the concept of the tablets that stood in the Holy of Holies on the other side of the curtain, like it says that the curtain divided and so forth, so it's above the curtain. That's the concept of Moshe, who received the tablets. And to understand these ideas, we first need to preface the difference between the reading of Shema and the prayer of Shmona Esrei. That even someone who their work is their Torah study, that's their main fixture, is their Torah study, they're still obligated in Kriya Shema. And its blessings, and is only free from the prayer of Shmona Esrei. And look what it says about this in the Siddur, in the gate of Kriya Shema, to understand the difference between Kriya Shema and prayer. And there it explains, because Kriya Shema is a higher unity, the yichud of Ava, of the Chachma and Bina, in general, that it's yichud of and bria, even though Shmona Esrei is yichud azun, but in atzilus. Look over there. When the reason is that from Kriya Shema until we say Tilos Lakel Elyon, when you stand up for the going up to Atzilus, it's a concept of elevation of the world. And from Tilos Lakel Elyon onwards, it's a concept of descent of Zer Anpin to greet her, to greet Malchus, that has come up from the worlds. Like it says in Zohar, that the king comes to greet her. And the explanation of this concept, is known in the intention that we're supposed to have in the blessings of Shmona Esrei. When you say, blessed are you, the Pirush Baruch, that what do you mean, blessed are you? That is to draw down the light of Abba, la'ata, to the level of Ata, es hey, which is the concept of es hey, which is the idea of Malchus as is known. Aleph to Taf, and the hey at the end. And then after the Hamshacha from Abba to Malchus, you lift up when you say Hashem's name, which is to elevate the Malchus. Ad nice for Tiftach. Hashem should open my mouth. That's, so to speak, preparation for Shmona Esrei, when Hashem lifts you up. So it's found in the prayer of Shmona Esrei, it's drawing down the light of Abba from above. But before Shmona Esrei, It's only the elevation of Malchus. It's not drawing down from above the Mshachas or Abba. Rather, it's an elevation of Malchus upwards from behind, from below the curtain, which is called the Parsar. Look what it says in Likutei Torah, an explanation of it was there for him. The Torah was there for him as a blueprint and so forth, with the concept of that from your dwelling places you should bring lechem tnufa, an offering of waving, which is the concept of kriya shema, that you sit down for shema. It's a concept of elevation. And that's the concept of shema and its blessings until tilos l'kel elyon, shakol chayavim, that everybody's obligated to say this. So even someone whose work is their Torah, so because the concept of someone whose work is their Torah, because it's like a vessel that you use for your work. Kidua, like an axe or whatever, a computer that you use for your work. It's your vessel of work. That is, that you draw down the light and the flow from wisdom in Torah to Malchus. That's the Torah is hamshacha from above. And therefore, he's not obligated in the prayer. Because that's what prayer does as well. It draws down, just like Torah draws down. Me'or Abba canal, from the light of Abba. But the reading of Shema is the elevation of Malchus. Even someone whose work is their Torah, they need this elevation, the feminine waters and self-sacrifice of that you should love Hashem. But the drawing down of the light of Abba, he's not obligated to because he draws this down with his Torah. And that's how, until you say Tilos L'Kel Elyon, it's a concept of elevation. And from there onwards, Malka, the king, or Abba, which is the light of Abba, comes to greet her, as coming down, which is the root of the concept of prayer. And it's also the concept of Torah, like we said. Because the Torah and the blessings of Shemona Esrei, they have a singular root of Hamshacha. It's only that prayer brings this down only in external. And therefore it's only called the life of an hour. But nonetheless, they're still compared. One is Chai Olam, one is Chai Shah, because they're both Hamshacha from above, Achaye. Because it's explained in another place. And this is that Moshe gathered the congregation. Moshe b'chinas Yisod Abba. That Moshe is the foundation of Abba Shubichinas HaChachma Shebetorah Kanal, which is the wisdom in Torah. Like we said, this is Hamshacha from above. Hamshacha Sur Abba V'ukol Kol Hey Gvuros V'Hei Chasadim, and includes the 5 kindnesses and the 5 strictnesses. Shemischalik Mina Das Kanal, which divides from Das Bepirush B'Derech Yedosecha Chulu, when we explained in the path of your testimonies and so forth. That it draws down the path, the 32 paths from Chochma. And that's the concept of Torah study. Mas nisin malkasa, that the Mishnah is the king. Kenyan sh'amala laharav Beis Yosef, like it said, the Magid said to the Beis Yosef that spoke in him, Ani ha-Mishnah medaberes chulu, I am the Mishnah that is speaking in your mouth. In your mouth. Like look what we said earlier in this Mimer about bringing down the Hamshacha from above. We can further say that even though Israel came up in thought, like we said before, that the concept of machshava is the concept of bina, chashav ma, that is from the root of their souls. That's the concept of their mazel, the source of their soul. And it drips down from Livanon, which are Lamed Beis Lev Nun, the 32 paths of wisdom and the 50 gates of understanding. Of Chochma and Bina, Shem Chochma and Bina, Val Mitzad Yeridas, Nishmas and Beguv. That's our source of our soul. That it drips down from our mazel. It's Nozel, from our source of all that's of Al Mitzad Yeridas and Nishmas and Beguv. But when we look at it as from the soul as it is in the body, we went below the angels. Look over there. And if you want to get back up and draw down from their source that we came up in thought, that's through Torah. That even though that which is fell down from the wisdom above is Torah, just like that which is fallen down from above from Bina is the Shechina. So we so to speak, if it's fallen down, then we have it down here, I guess. So meaning to say that it came down. You want to say that we're in a body, the neshama came down into a body, and so the Torah also came down, and the Shechina also came down. So they're stuck down here with us, lechaora, at first glance. But we say no, because the Torah is still united and tied with above with its source. And this is not like the neshama that comes down. That as it's in the body hides and covers it. And that's why we have to learn Torah, which is Chachma together with Bina, both the Chachma Shel Maila, Torah, and Bina Shel Maila Shechina. Meir Banashama, the Chachma and Bina shines into the Neshama Gamkin Mishor Shemakora, also from its root and its source, Shala B'machshava, that came up in thought. And that's what it means, that Moshe gathered all the congregations of the sons of Israel, that we, through the light of Torah that shines down from our source of our neshama, this gathers and brings and reveals the source of the neshama into the souls of Israel. And these are the things that Hashem has commanded to do them. That you should do work for 6 days. That just as we explained with the concept of that Moshe gathered, that includes all of the division that will happen through Das in one place in its source. But in general, this is the concept of the inner concept of Zeranpin. The Das as its mischalik in the source of Zah. Similarly, is this the idea of the days of the week in comparison to the day of Shabbos. But the days of the week and Shabbos in comparison to the Torah and the source of the neshamos is the external concept of Zeranpin Bilvad Kanal. Now, to understand this idea, how we're comparing the days of the week and Shabbos to the neshamos and the source of their soul in Das and in Chachma of Moshe, we'll first preface the idea of this, that it says that the mitzvahs are to do them. That this word la'asos, to do, also means to fix. Like it says that she should fix up her nails. She should make her nails proper. in the simple context, according to Rashi, it means that she makes them grow to make herself not look nice. But al-sasas tiparnea can also mean that she does them up and she fixes them. Like it says in Medrash on the verse that Hashem Elohim created to do it. What do you mean to do it? In order to fix it. That the creation was made in such a way that it needs fixing. Just like when you cook the tormosin, that they need to be cooked again and again in order to be eaten, because they are not created in such a way where you can eat them directly, but they need fixing. So to the creation needs this fixing. But Elohim la'asos. Kine ele gematria lamentes. Because when we're talking about Ele HaMitzvos Asher Tziva Avayla Sososam, the Ele is Gematria 39. That these are the mitzvahs Shein Lametes Malachos. They are the 39 types of work, Kedrashos Rajzal, like what our sages said, Bepirush Ele HaDvarim Kenoda, that these are the things, Ele Ve'ele, as is known, the drashos, when it's talking about the different malachos that we're not allowed to do on Shabbos. V'hu inyan habirudim kol vav yimei hamaisa. And this is the concept of the purifications that we do, these 39 types of work, all the 6 days of work, belamed tas malachos, with 39 types of labor, chodesh v'zoreachlu, of plowing and sowing seeds, shukadimyon habishul, Shel HaTormosin, that this is compared to the work we do when we want to fix something up. We want to cook these vegetables. The Tormosin Shemahafkin Hamashabo Lemasok, that we're able to flip and change its bitterness to sweetness. Kacha Birurim Diamosa Chol, so to the purifications we do during the days of the week. Mahafkin Miriru Lemiska, we change the bitterness to sweetness. Miraresh Peiches Nitzutzim Chulu, from the 288 sparks. And as is known, and this is the concept of to do them in order to fix them. So to the concept of that Elohim created them to do them, to fix them. Now it's written that you should work for 6 days in order to purify and to change bitterness to sweetness, balamites malachos, with the 39 types of labor. And then on the 7th day we rest. What does it mean that we rest on the 7th day? Just like someone who does work, that their strength is spreads out into the work that they do. And when they rest from the work, their spirit comes back into them from where they expressed it and stretched it out. So it goes back upwards. That ability that they had that spread out, that's what comes back. So when it rests from its state of spreading out. Now, for example, when a person writes letters and spreads out the ability that they have to do it from their fingers, certainly when they rest from the writing, the light and the life force goes back into the person. But now we see though is enclosed the light of intellect as well, and they're very involved in this writing. Certainly that when they rest from this work of writing, so it's not just the fingers that are resting, but also their mind, their knowledge and their intellect, that were enclosed in the letters of writing, in the time when they were writing. You can understand this as well with the letters of speech, that even though the letters themselves aren't, so to speak, inanimate, they're just sounds of but the intellect that is spoken and revealed through the letters, in these letters of speech, it is a spiritual ability that comes from the essence of our intellect. And when you rest from your speaking, so also the person's intellect rests that which was in the speech canal. Like we said with the written letters. And similarly, the one who understands can understand that this applies above as well in the spiritual realms. That's the concept of Friday night. The first part of Shabbos Aliyos Bechinas Malchus Tatzilus, which is the elevation of Malchus Vatzilus Shnikri Dibur HaElyon, that's called the supernal speech. And also that which was enclosed, not just the speech, but also that which the light that was enclosed in it from Chachma, from wisdom, that's called the wisdom within speech. That is the elevation of all the 10 statements of creation. Let there be light, let there be a firmament, and so forth. All the letters are going back up to their source. That he's resting from his speech, allegorically. And they go back up to their source. And also the concept of wisdom that's enclosed within these statements of creation, the supernal wisdom, goes back up to its source. Like this allegory that we just brought, the letters of the written letters and the spoken letters, and that's enough to understand that. But on the day of Shabbos we say a song for the day of Shabbos. That's the day of Shabbos itself that goes up. That this wisdom that was enclosed and went up already, the Friday night, it goes up another time on the day of Shabbos. Yomא Deshbetã. Not just Máli Shebetã, but Yomã Deshbetã. Okay. And this is what goes up into the essence of the emanator. That's called the source of wisdom. Like it says that wisdom is found from naught, from the level of ayin. And that's the concept of the crown shenikra ayin. That's called the naught. And that's called the meal of atik. Which is not the case Friday night. That the elevation of Chachma is not all the way up, it's to a source in Kesser, only from as it's enclosed in speech. Bilvad alone, Vidal. And that's why we say on the night of Shabbos, and then he concluded his work, and you sanctified Yomא Shabbos yishmach Moshe b'matnas Xelko. And on the day of Shabbos we say that Moshe should rejoice in the gift of his portion. That because on the day of Shabbos, which is the concept of the elevation of wisdom into Keser, then we say that Moshe should rejoice, which is the concept of Yisod Abba, that's the Amshach of Yisod Abba b'matnas Xelko, and the gift of his portion. What does it mean, the gift of his portion? That was given to him a glimmer from the crown. That's called the gift of his portion. That it goes back up to Kesed. You can explain it in a different way. The matnas Chelko hu Shabbos. That was given to him as a gift from below to above. Hu Shabbos the Máli Shabbatah. And that's the Shabbos of the Friday night, of the elevation of Shabbos. Hanikra Shabbos Tatal, that's called the lower Shabbos. Which is the elevation of wisdom that's included in speech. So this that Moshe rejoices in the gift of his portion can either refer to the elevation of Chachma as it's included below, or it can refer to the Ha'aras HaKesser that's within Chachma. Both of these are elevations of Chachma, of Moshe, of Yisod Abba, that Moshe Rabbeinu, which is this level of Chachma, rejoices in the different elevations that it has on Shabbos. And it's all one concept, Mishum denotes Sofan B'tchilasan, because the end is tied into the beginning. A Malchus, B'keser, the Malchus that Chachma is enclosed in, with the Keser that shines into it, Vishneim Nekrayim Matnas Chilko Chulu V'dal. Both of them are called the gift of his portion. Val B'leil Shabbos, but on the night of Shabbos, Shu Aliyas Malchus Bilvad Canal, which is the elevation of Malchus alone, Omrim Vicholu, that we say that he concluded his work. Why do we say Vicholu? Shehu Kilayin Sheli Spashtus, or because it's the going up, the end and finishing of the spreading out of the light Hanimshach Bedibur that is drawn down into speech, Shiyuchla Lamayla Bats Muso, to be elevated upwards into his essence. Shubichinas Or Choser. It's a concept of a returning light, El Ha'atzmus, to the essence, Kamashal Hana, like the allegory we said. Shabbos Beis Palmim Vayichulu, and this is why we say the night of Shabbos Vayichulu twice. Actually, we say it 3 times. We say once in the prayer, and then right after Shmona Esrei, together with the congregation, and then we say it again in Kiddush. But here he's only bringing it twice. Echad b'tefillah, ve'echad b'kiddush, once in tefillah, once in Kiddush. Kadesh Beis Edim, in order so that you have 2 witnesses, echad b'amida b'tefillah, ve'echad b'kiddush, once standing in prayer and once in Kiddush. So I guess you have one standing, one sitting, just like you have Kriya Shema and Tefillah. One standing, one sitting, and maybe that's also 2 witnesses. Maybe that's also the idea of edus, that we say by, if you don't have the tefillin on, it's an edus sheker, because maybe the idea of Shema and Shmona Esrei is an idea of edus. You have Amida and Yeshiva, or Yeshiva and Amida, Yeshiva by Shema and Amida by Shmona Esrei. Here you have Amida by Tefillah when you say Vicholu, and this is well by Kiddush. At any rate, Malchus because Malchus, when it goes up, it's called a witness, like we're talking here in this Maamar about the concept of Eda and Eda, that this is Vayakel Moshe. Moshe goes Eda Hamatzivah, like we say that the Eda Hamatzivah is in the feminine, the testimony that is in the feminine, in the pillar, Barichus, like we said, we explained at length, that Ed Hagal is masculine and Eda Hamatzivah is feminine. So Beis Edim, and you need 2 witnesses, Edus, in any testimony, that you don't have any witnesses. You can't have a testimony less than 2 witnesses, as is known. The Kol Hanal Yuvan, with all that we've explained, you can understand. That just like by Moshe, it includes all of the division, in particular divisions. Yomא Shabbos. So to the day of Shabbos, Ha'aras HaKesser, the Chachma Canal, which is the glimmer of the crown into wisdom, like we said, Kol Canal includes within it everything that was elevated from the 6 days of work. And that's that it says that Moshe gathered all of the congregation. And these are the things. What are the things? Like Chazal say on Eile HaDvarim Shein Lametes Malachos, that refers to the 39 works Asher Tziva Avayla Ososos Am L'Sakin Canal that Hashem has commanded to do them, to fix during the week, to elevate. In 6 Yomim Ta'aseh Malacha, 6 weeks you do your work, and on the 7th day you rest. And that this is truly like the concept that we said before, with that Moshe gathers all of the congregation. Now, with this you can understand that even though that it says these are the things that Moshe has commanded seems to be a positive commandments, and Eila Hadvarim, our sages said, refers to the things we're not allowed to do, the 39 things that we're not allowed to do. that Eila is 36, I guess, with Hadvarim. However, they're Dorashit. Shabbos Hurak Miniyas HaMaisa, and Shabbos is only not doing. So how is it? How does the statement Asher Tzivala Sososam a Miniyas HaMaisa? Mikol Makom Shaykh Lomar Ba Asher Tziva Avayla Soskul, but you can still say that Hashem is commanded to do it. To La'asos Zehu Bechinas Atikun, because this doing is not an action, but rather a fixing. V'ikar Atikun Hu b'Shabbos, and the main fixing is on Shabbos when it gets elevated. When Chachma goes upwards towards Kesers and stops doing. As is explained, that's the true concept of elevation. וגם בזה יתורץ למה לא אמר רק מצוות שבס ומתחילה אמר אלה הדברים לשון רבים. And with this you can understand why it only speaks about the mitzvah of Shabbos, and at first it says in the plural, these are the things that Hashem has commanded. Then it only says Shabbos. So if it's plural, why does it say only one mitzvah of Shabbos? Ki kulam nichlalu b'mitzvah Shabbos. HaShabbos, because they're all included within the mitzvah of Shabbos. Everything is elevated to Shabbos, all the 6 days of the week, and everything we did. Because all of the mitzvahs are a concept of elevation and purification that are elevated on Shabbos. Like it says, by the Garden of Eden, that it's to work it and guard it. Shabbos kolelos kulam mitam anal vadal, and Shabbos includes all of them for the reason we explained.